Hi, I'm Dr. Marcy Teal, and today I am going to demonstrate for you the Expert-24 toolkit, which is used to create knowledge automation systems. You can think of this a little bit like an Excel spreadsheet, except that instead of running numbers, it runs logic and knowledge. But it does allow people like me who haven't ever had any coding training to actually build these kinds of systems. So any kind of an expert in their field can now use this tool to automate knowledge and put it on the web or inside of systems and applications. So let's go to the system. The first thing to look at is actually how currently companies automate knowledge. What currently happens is that experts write and edit the content and rules, usually in Word or something like that. Knowledge engineers actually outline that in some sort of flow and logic normally. Then technical staff write the code and load it into the system. A design team integrates the code into the application. Testers then test the content and the logic, find errors, and the cycle starts again. And actually it's worse than that. What really happens is that there is a lot of back and forth between each of these steps and between each of the people involved in these steps, which makes the process very long. So, for example, it could take 10 months to get a piece of knowledge automation out the door. With the Expert-24 system, we make that about 10 times faster because we actually put the experts who understand the content and the logic and how it's supposed to work into the driver's seat. They can now write and edit the content, rules, and logic. They can load it, they can test it, they can change it, and when they're happy with it, it goes into the design. At the same time, the design team is creating a generic front end that it runs in. And this makes the system about 10 times faster in our experience with multiple clients over the years. The next thing I want to show you is the actual tool itself. So if you think about this a little bit like an Excel spreadsheet, you probably have it about right. We have two pieces or two parts to the Expert-24 toolkit. On the left here you have the asset builder. This is where we build all the questions, answers, conclusions that go to make up the Visio spreadsheet that you see on the right. So all of the different building blocks, which we call assets, are on the left, are built on the left, and they're actually dragged and dropped onto the system on the right. Now what you see on the right, if I double click on one of these questions, it's going to bring up on the left that question in the Visio. If I want to drag and drop another question into the Visio diagram and hook it up, I can do that. Let me introduce you to the shapes on the Visio diagram. This is a start node. This is the fitness algorithm that you're seeing up here. This is the shape of a conclusion, this flag shape. Questions are the shape of a hexagon here, and the answers are diamonds. The pink boxes you see here are dragged on, and they surround questions in order to make them appear in the same place on the end user's page. Questions and answers are dragged over. If I come over to the left-hand side here and I want to drag on a question like, what's your first name? I take it, drag it, drop it onto the page, and put it in. If I want to find the answers that are associated with that have been used in past assessments, I can right-click, I can open all answers, and you'll see here that I have two answers that have been used with this. If I want to use them again, I can drag them and drop them onto the page.
It's not actually a facility that we allow them to remove that.
And then I can connect them up using the C key for connect, or I can drag the arrows around them. This will then ask what the patient's name is. If I double click on that, you'll see that what the patient will see is first name, or what the person will see is first name. And this here we'll give units to it and tell it to be a text enter. Oops, sorry. We'll tell it to be a text enter answer type. If I want to put this into the system, all I do is simply attach it with arrows.
We could just go and get your last HRA and load those ones. But I think we should
And once I've done that, I load it into the system and it will ask that question. What you're looking at here is the fitness assessment. So let me back up for a minute, and you can see on the right-hand side here, you can see what the whole assessment looks like. It's a small assessment, actually, although it looks kind of big there. And we have done the equivalent of documenting our code over to the left here so that it's very easy to know where things are. But this is actually human readable. We give this to people all the time, and they can see that we're asking what's your gender, what's your age, this question here, how long have you spent sitting without getting up for at least a few minutes. If I double click on that, you can see it over the left hand side here. And when I export this, it actually runs in a front end that we've designed, but the front end can look like anything. And if I run this algorithm, you can see that it's going to ask me questions like, in a typical day, what's the longest time you spent sitting without getting up and moving around a few minutes? And I might say, 2 hours. Well, that question, before I go on, is actually the one you're looking at over here. Let me scroll in. So you can see that is that question. That's represented here. This is the text that you're seeing. It's a user entry question, which means that it's going to get those boxes around it. Hold on just a minute. Let me go back to that. And you can see this says hours, that says minutes. This answer says hours, and that's where that comes from. And it follows down in a line to here, where I've got a title message up here. I've got the time spent in light physical activity, moderate, and strenuous, all in a pink box, which means they all appear on the same page. And those images that go with them are found here in the media tag on the question. If I go through here and follow it through, this is pre-answered because I've answered this in the past and it's remembered what I said last time. So as I go through, you'll see that I didn't get a question about name. However, if I export this, oh, it says I have a problem. So I'll double click on it. Okay, so I'm missing an arrow here. So it tells me where I've got a problem. I can connect it up. Try again. Now it's clean. And finish. Now if I go back in here, and this is a development database, so I can play with it, and I go to fitness, like I did before, suddenly I get first name. Okay? And the reason that I'm getting that there is because we added it after age and gender, which we've already answered. So I can put my name in there. And I can go on, get to the end. Oops, actually, hold on. Sorry, we'll do this part again. I wanted to show you the summary here. So in general information, I now have my first name.